Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Haven't got it! He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run. Outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to round number 6 of the Radical America series at Daytona International Speedway. Welcome to Daytona Beach, 1801 West International Speedway Boulevard in Florida, where this track is located. This track opened on the 6th of February 1959. Has a total of 13 corners, 4 to the right, 11 to the left if you count oval corners too. 3.5 miles long then this circuit, about 5.649 kilometers long. Quickest lap time, a 1:33.724 from Alex Palou in the Cadillac DPI VR in 2022 during the 24 hours of Daytona. What a track this is. Hosts two of America's biggest race events, the Daytona 24 Hours and the Daytona 500 for the NASCARs, of course. Today, we race around here with the Radical SR8 with me in the commentary booth here this evening, as every evening, basically, for the Americas so far, has been Daan Pepels. Welcome, Daan Pepels.
Good evening. And I've welcome out there CJ, who's first in the chat. You beat me today, CJ. I'll get you next week. Yeah, because Daytona, it's classic. If you don't know Daytona, you do not know motor racing. Whether you do enjoy the oval track or this international, where you go inside the track a little bit, just a little bit, couple of turns, and then you come back out again. Then there's a little kink, of course, that tries to slow the drivers down there and also provide some great overtaking opportunities and plenty of opportunities for drivers to make some mistakes as well, as we are seeing some of them. We've seen some of them, Dan, in practice. But then again, that's what they're doing practice for, to push it as much as they can. And out there, CJ was saying, well, Scotty might have to qualify today. And that's Scott Cullingham, because, he usually doesn't qualify, remember, to try your last to first challenge.
Yeah.
But on a rolling start, you're going to have to, I think.
Well,
kind of.
This race is going to provide us with a lot of challenges. Now, a little bit earlier on, for the people who were there at that point too, we did have the Europe one, and in that one some controversy. That race, basically, Biggles had absolutely everything, and it provided us with a battle for P1 between 8 cars for about 45 minutes before the pit stops came in, and that kind of shook everything up. But what an amazing race that was, to be honest. It had controversy in the way that two drivers, Men of the Graaf and Paul Crabb, did not take their second pit stop in time. Now,
yes.
Men of the Graaf, I don't know what is going to happen with him. Paul Crabb has been disqualified from that session. He did pretty well. He was up there in the top 6 and he got disqualified from that session. So a bit unfortunate for Paul Crabb himself. For the people who want to know the top 3 over at the Europes. In qualifying, it was Jürgen Frank on top, as always, out of Arturs Condelis and Rudolf Nagel in P3. And what a surprise. In the race, it was Jürgen Frank who won it too, ahead of Tim Bertie, his teammate. And Rudolf Nagel completed the full SimRC top 3. Now, the drivers are going to be ready in a moment, out on track, looking with Joel Jacqueline, Biggles. Qualifying, I said it to Kenton earlier on, it makes it all the much fairer, the fact that this is a close qualifying session. Else you would have maybe had a couple of drivers who were just up there because they had a lucky run qualifying with some slipstream. So for once, I'm actually pretty happy for the drivers that it is close qualifying, because now every driver for himself.
Go for it. Yep. Put your best banker laps in you possibly can do. Maybe you might see a couple of mistakes as they're going to push it. And obviously as well, too, I need the one pit stop that we do in a shorter session here in the Americas rather than the 2. But you do have to make that pit stop with before 10 minutes to go at the end of the race.
Yeah, and that is what provided us with the controversy in that race, because not only did Paul Crabb not pit, he was in the understanding that he pitted for a second time. So a bit of issues there for Paul Crabb. Got disqualified after a pretty good result for himself there in that race. So yeah,
how could you forget that you've made pit stop or not? Like, are you that into the zone? I mean, +2. We remember we're round 6 now, so those kind of, what would you say, rookie mistakes that you would do early in the season with a new format. Yeah, you'd understand that happens, but so far deep into the season now, it is very unusual.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, that was the Americas or the Europes, excuse me. Now we're looking at the Americas. We're looking with Joel Jacqueline, who is going to come across the line to set, to note the start of his first flying lap, and he goes deep into turn 1. That is immediately going to put him on the back foot. Now, the lap times that we were looking at in the Europe one was around the 140s, around the high 39s if you were really quick. So I'm looking for more of the same here in the American ones, especially for people like Stephen Place, who we're looking with now, who's already had that Europe one to kind of practice for this one.
I think we need a Dan Hotlap guide of Daytona International as well when you get time, because I'm looking forward to them. I'm sure CJ does as well every week, from a experienced driver who not so experienced entering the pit lanes, but can drive a car around a track. Dan, can always remember that.
Well, looking forward to give you a lap around this track. I'm going to take a look at Lucas Vieira, who at the moment is on his last exit out of the bus stop chicane. Interesting one, that one. We've seen so many drivers go off in that corner in the Europe one. We've seen 2 drivers just hit the outside wall and the exit of the Le Mans chicane. Let's take a look. Lucas Vieira is going to go all the way low. Let's start the lap.
He's pushing the track limits. Yeah, go
around
ahead,
this
Dan.
beautiful Daytona International Speedway road course. Lucas Vieira pops to the top on a 141.41. A great opening lap for Lucas Vieira to the inside of turn number 1. That inside line was so well held in the Europe 1 by Arturo Scott Daly's. No one seemingly able to get past down into turn 3. The international horseshoe down the second gear, up through the gears now into turn 4, the dogleg. Easy flat in these cars with the downforce they have. Easy flat. You can take it too wide through here, no problem at all. Then into the Western horseshoe, a bit of a longer one this one, back in the second gear, and up through the gears we go for turn number 6, one of the slowest corners on the track. A good exit needed, because this leads on to an oh so long full throttle part onto the first of the 2 banked corners. 33 degrees the banked corners here on this track. We're looking forward to seeing the drivers go side by side through here, because the thing is, this leads to amazing racing with the slipstream effect you can take through the banking. It kind of outdoes all of the time you lose in the infield. Braking at the 1 marker, very late on the brakes through the Le Mans chicane. A good exit needed. It's not the corner that matters, it's the chicane that matters. And the exit out of it, because you have this long full throttle part ahead, just like the exit onto the first bank part. He's almost had all of the bank parts now. Pulls himself down low again. Daly's is in second, 310s behind him. He needs an improvement here. These cars improved throughout the whole session. Across the line for Lucas Vieira, pops himself up into P1, was already there on a 41.295, and that, Biggles, is a lap around this beautiful Daytona International Speedway road course at Daytona Beach.
On board with the Brazilian, of course, of the Ayrton Senna, sporting the Ayrton Senna helmet, and as CJ had said, a little bit of a lock-up, I believe it was, into turn 1, so you can go even faster. He's going to commit to another lap. Something else I wanted to ask you there, Dan, and it's completely blown my mind.
Well,
it'll come back to me in a bit.
The cars will will improve throughout this whole session, let's put it like that. And it's just like you've seen every other week. About lap 3 is where it plateaus, so we're still on board with Lucas Vieira to see where he pops himself off. Diego Schneider is a good one to look with too. He's in P9 at the moment. He is already done, or he's only done 1 lap so far, so he's on his 2nd lap, so he's way behind everyone else. You have time to do that though on this track. That's time for about 2 other laps once he comes across the line.
Yeah, just confirming out there that the audio is all good. Because sometimes, you know, you're on board a car and it's really loud on the stream, and we don't hear that back until later. But CJ out there has confirmed that it's all good to go. Thank you very much for that. Love the banking elevation on this, isn't it? You are turning it, you are steering a little bit to the left there. I don't know if you do a little bit of a correction on the steering wheel too. It's not so bumpy, but obviously you can't just completely be dead straight. And imagine it would wiggle a little bit, depending on force feedback and all that jazz as well.
This track is really bumpy, especially in NASCAR's during the Daytona 500. Stephen Place, where is he going to pop himself up into with the practice he's had earlier on in the sessions in the Europe one? He's going to pop himself up into P1. What a drive from Stephen Place. Was kind of, you know, he was see-through in the Europe one. He wasn't really noticeable. It's kind of not there in the Europe one, and then
yeah, that's what I was going to ask you how he went in the European division earlier, because yeah, Stevie's one of the drivers that does both.
He even wants to bounce back a bit because he's had some trouble from last time out. Was all the way down in P7, P8. Stephen Place did not have the race he wanted. Now, don't get me wrong, Jürgen Frank and Tim Bertie, they dominated that race. But even then, he was about 40 seconds back on the top 7. So, yeah, not being a race to remember for Stephen Place, but he's bouncing back in style here with the America ones. Pops himself up to P1 on a 141.272. So, looking forward to how Stephen Place is going to recover. He has the bit between his teeth after that Europe one. And a nice line through the Le Mans chicane. It's not the bus stop anymore, Biggles. They changed that about 2 years ago. I think I had a discussion with James about that. Well, about 3-4 months ago. But it is really the Le Mans chicane. Because they changed it during the 24 hours of Daytona when IMSA and WEC announced that they were going to work together. So they named the bus stop chicane the Le Mans chicane. And they named the first chicane at the Circuit de la Sarthe, the Daytona chicane. So that's how it went. That's why that's why it's got the name the Le Mans chicane, for people who were wondering. So there we go, a bit of history about this track. Stephen Place across the line couldn't improve enough. Lucas Vieira has got him or has pipped into that pole position. Diego Schneider, what can he do? 25 seconds left. No, he's not going to make it.
No.
Not going to make it.
Oh, he's blinking. He's just to be on track there at the moment racing. Charles Krasek goes up to P10. And interesting that was put out there in the chat there from CJ is the fact that you got the top 8 actually at this point separated by a second. You got the top 11 separated by a 2/10. We'll have to look at that actually. But it's about a second, I believe between them as the qualifying session is done and dusted.
Take a look at how the drivers will be lining up on the grid, because qualifying has gone, well, has passed us now. Lucas Vieira in pole position ahead of Stephen Place in P2. Artur Scondelis in P3 ahead of Diego Schneider in P4. Manuel Torresano in P5 ahead of Diego Zuccarelli in P6. Joel Jacklin P7 ahead of John Moncada in P8. Richard Horn P9 ahead of Charles Cross in P10. Nathan Brumby in P11 ahead of Jeff Stone to round off row number 6. And to round off the grid, we have the one, the only Scotty Galligan, who will probably be looking to make his way through to the front. Now, if there's one track where you can do so, it is Daytona International Speedway, the road course, because with the amount of slipstream that we have here, if the top 2 is not able to break away, they are going to trouble. Like I said, to you earlier in the green room, Biggles. Before this, we had about, 8 cars fighting for the lead, all within a second of each other, for about 45 minutes in the Europe one.
Wow. Hopefully, we're going to see a repeat of that. It's the top 8. It was confirmed that SCJ, the top 8, and the rolling start will certainly make things interesting into turn 1. And whether or not Scotty's going to make a great jump past many of those cars, once again, not setting a qualifying time and proving himself. Can he do it from last place? Can Lucas hold off Stevie? Or can we have one of the other drivers coming through here and pulling a great result off midway through the season here? Welcome along, of course, to the Simracing Americas series. We're going to be underway for a rolling start soon. As Barney's buddy is in that car. The pace car. To be loving that elevation. I can't remember specifically what the elevation is here at Daytona, but it is quite a lot for an oval track compared to a lot of the other oval tracks in the States. That's what gives you the sensation of speed, almost very much Monza-esque, the old Monza circuit.
Well, we're back at Daytona International Speedway. We never really left, anyways. But Stephen Place, he's going to dictate the pace now. The pace car is going to pull off. Let's listen on board with Lucas Vieira once he's going to go, or when he's going to go. There's the pace car. Let's listen. There he goes with green, green, green for race number 6 of the Radical America Series, round number 6 in Daytona International Speedway. Everyone gets off to a good start. Arturo Scondelis to a better one. I told you Arturo Scondelis was strong on that inside line. I saw it for about 1.5 hours earlier on in the Europe one, and he's got Stephen Place once again on the inside line, Biggles.
Good job, yep. He's done that before. With both of those drivers of their experience. There's a little bit of side-by-side. Somebody's going to have to go off into the grass area, but hopefully not off into the fence. That was... That's the 26 machine. Yep, that's Diego. So far, so good. That's a different racing line I was just about to say going into that. So perhaps what's happened to Diego there is that he probably got a bit of that dust on those tires, mate, and he came into that corner a little bit too hot, and unfortunately the car could not just have the traction. And goes spinning around there with a little bit of damage in the back of the car as well.
It's fortunate for Diego Zuccarelli. Lucas Vieira.
Somebody else has gone off, I think, just in there. Nathan Brumby had. Yes, I just saw that in the corner of the pictures before, but we'll get back to that in a second. Going to see the action here at the top 3. Look at this. Using a slipstream. Going for it, but not quite there.
It's too deep. Arturo Scondelis has gone too deep into that corner, and now he's all under pressure from Stephen Place. Stephen Place, however, might not have the run, and he might be done by Manuel Sorosalo behind. However, there we go, pulls to the outside. Gonna block the road. Manuel Sorosalo, though, getting an incredible run from Arturo Scondelis. He's now going to try and push Arturo Scondelis through the wind, catching up to the back of Lucas Vieira, and Stephen Place, like I said, is actually going to lose a place instead of gain one, and you have to go to the inside of Arturo Scondelis into turn number 1, else you're not going to get past. We've seen that for about 1.5 hours, like I said, in the Europe one. And if Arturo Scondelis is holding an inside line, you, my friends, are not going to get anywhere near past.
I thought Lucas had a pretty good gap there, but because of that long straightaway, towards the end there, they really start getting close, as he's the one that's obviously breaking all the air at the moment. So that's the problem, isn't it, leading the race. Ooh. Is that Diego Schneider going a little bit too deep into that corner? It cost him a little bit. He was catching this pack. He still can catch him back up again if he gets that all-important exit around here that you mentioned before one of these long straightaways.
Wide, 7 tenths is the gap. Ahead of him, Stephen Place is that gap for about 4 tenths. So he's naturally going to be gaining a bit more in the car ahead of him than Diego Schneider is on Stephen Place. But Stephen Place will be gaining now.
Yeah, watch him all drop about 1/10 behind another car. That's the advantage of your slipstream.
Yeah. Well,
each one of these drivers are all dropping about 1/10, almost 2/10 drop there from Arturis, until they get into the braking zone and then back out again, as you mentioned.
Earlier on, we kind of saw Bertie and Jürgen Frank trying to push each other. They were not physically touching, but they were doing it NASCAR style, creating a bubble, as they call it, in front of your nose. Try and push the driver ahead of you through, and that is what we see Manuel Solozano do on the back of Arturus Condeilis, the outside line. It's not gonna work. I've told you this about 12 million times, Manuel. You don't listen, and this is what you get now. He's under attack from Stephen Place. Of course, Manuel Solozano can't hear us while he's racing. He's way too focused on the track. So, of course, joking around a bit about the fact that I told him. But I said to you guys that Arturus Condeilis was so strong on that inside line down at turn number 1, and he proved it again.
And Zaccarelli goes into pit road with that damage that he had, so he's getting that pit over and done with, and it's a mandatory pit stop anyway, so take it now and see how it's going to pound a little bit later. You'll be by yourself on the track though, so you put some banker laps in, but you'll obviously won't have a nice slipstream that these drivers are in. And of course, Scotty doing what Scotty does best. The man's up 7 places for the 666 machine in number 6 position, so make that quadruple.
Now he's going to struggle a bit though, because
yeah, now he will. He's got
he
a
has
gap
no
up the road.
slipstream, and he's got to catch up to the guys ahead. But this is where he's going to struggle. We're kind of waiting for this race to settle down a bit, but with what we've seen from the Europes,
It's going
to take a while. It's going to take a while, especially with this slipstream on the banking. The drivers are going to be overtaking left, right, and centre. Now, we saw Jürgen Frank go about 1 hour and 10 minutes on a fuel tank, Biggles, which was absolutely, well, I've got no words for it. Neither did I once I was watching it, and I still haven't got any words for it. It was just incredible to watch. And no one really, I think, expected it. Leaves the inside door open, does Lucas Vieira.
Is he going to go for it here? I'd be a little bit cautious about going for it just yet. You may be able to, well, fuel save a little bit, but I don't think you have to worry too much about that fuel saving in an hour race now. As you said, they can go over an hour and 10 with the tank. But yeah, I don't. Sometimes, you know, in this kind of slipstream, it's best to sit around that position. As long as he's not getting too much of a threat from behind of Manuel. You wonder if it's just okay to tuck in and let Lucas do all the hard work out in front, because Lucas is the one that has the most amount of pressure put on him because of the fact that, you know, if he makes a little mistake at the moment, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars could be zooming on by.
For sure.
Like that 4 cars. We've lost Diego's gone off the
I was
track
about to count
again.
there.
I think that was a similar place, wasn't it, where Diego went off because it was a 5 party, and now it's turned back into a 4 party. But hey, Diego, you caught him before, mate. Got to catch him again. This time you're a little bit further back to get any of that slipstream.
Take a look at what happened to Nathan Brumby a bit earlier on. There we go. Into turn 6. Where is he going to lose it? On the exit, probably. On power.
Yeah.
There we go. So easy to do, Biggles, especially on that opening lap. And it is what Nathan Brumby found out the hard way. Now, Diego Schneider, what had he done? I suspect that this is coming into exactly the same corner. This is coming into turn 5, the Western Horseshoe.
No, it's this corner here. I think this is where he spun it before too, didn't he? A couple of laps earlier.
Yeah, not his favorite corner, is
Nice.
it, for Diego Schneider, that one?
Oh no, there was Diego. Well, Diego Schneider went a little bit wide on that one. The other Diego, Zaccarelli, then, well, he was the one that binned it in that corner, I believe. They got that damage early.
Well, Diego Schneider also in the opening lap, or the opening 2 laps, lost a little bit of the speed through there. So not the favorite corner of Diego Schneider either. Not a favorite corner of a lot of the drivers.
Of a Diego, really. It's not a Diego corner.
Well, it goes on for so long, Biggles. It carries on, and it feels like in the car, like it never ends. But that makes it also a great corner. Now, Lucas Vieira is struggling a bit here. Arturus Condeilis isn't. He's pressurizing him. He's trying to push it through. As long as he can save fuel, I think he will keep doing this.
He's not going to go out into the dirty air on this one. He's going to stay tucked in behind and apply the pressure, I feel.
This is what Bertie and Jürgen Frank were doing earlier on. As long as you don't need to overtake, as long as the car behind you stays behind you, P2 doesn't need to overtake. As long as Manuel Solozano is not going to put pressure on Arturus Condeilis is not going to overtake, because you don't need to be first now. You need to be first once you get to it.
Yeah, keep an eye further back as well too. So Richard Hernan won Moncada, I think, are very much side by side, and that's a battle for P7 and P8 as they're tucked up too. So that's something that's going to be occurring with those drivers utilising the situation of that slipstream. Scotty got past them before. Now Scotty's about a second and change. He is starting to we're catching Diego now because of Diego going on that little off-track excursion. So I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see a two-way battle between those two drivers coming up very soon. So that we'll have basically 3 individual racing parties here of cars tucked up together.
Too weird, there's the K again. Looking to resolve them as soon as possible though, Biggles.
Yep, we know the ropes on that. But luckily, there's not a lot of... There is action, of course, on the screen because these drivers are just a tooth and nail, aren't they? Line of stone, but not a lot of changes, position changes. So you're not missing too much on the timing tables that we had before. Still Lucas Vieira leading from Cadelis and Zazendo.
There we go.
So,
back to normal.
And Stevie. And yeah, look at that. See, Scotty's now catching the back. Scott Callahan is catching slowly the back there of Diego Schneider. And as I said, like, that's going to help him out with that slipstream. Because remember, we knew that once he made that overtake before, that he had a bit of a hill to climb.
You need someone to work together with, else you're still not going to catch Stephen Place, Sorzano, Cadelis, and Vieira up ahead of you. He needs someone to work together with, and Diego Schneider, with the pace that Diego has been running, could be the perfect duo for Scotty Gallagher. He's got to get right up below that rear bumper of
And unfortunately, Diego's had another moment, my friend, and that's dropped him all the way back down. Where is it? That's another. Is it Diego Schneider has had another off-track moment, or was that one might have been a little bit earlier? I was jumping the gun on that. What was a little bit earlier?
Must have been, because
he passed
he's still
to
5
Charles.
tenths ahead of him.
Yeah, they were passing Charles, actually, I believe, because Charles is now being lapped by some of the cars. Charles Krasick. Look how much Scotty's caught here.
This is what the slipstream does for you. He was about 7-8 tenths behind on the first straight. Now
It's
right
like a
on
DRS. It's like a DRS activation in Baku, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gives you so much more power on the straights.
Stay in the trends of that weekend. Yeah, like I said, it was a crazy one out of Baku too, wasn't it?
We have to make sure that, you know, we don't have any reporters down there at the pit lane entrance this time. If you're aware of that, in the last lap of the race there, they were coming out to get some photos in Parc Ferme, and didn't realize there were drivers still yet to box in the last lap, so they had to get out of the way. And yep, the Formula One management is certainly looking into that.
Well, that was kind of 1980-esque, that one, where the driver still didn't even have any sense of a pit speed limiter, and they just drove through the pits as quickly as they could.
We'll go back into the 80s, my friend, when some of the people used to run onto the track there and, you know, go up and touch the drivers and their cars and stuff. And they couldn't even get the cars back into the pit road sometimes. In the 80s and late 80s and 90s, I believe, like Nigel Mansell and some of those drivers out there got stuck on the track because the people were everywhere. You couldn't drive a car, of course, you'd be running over people.
Yeah, and coming back to the SR8, I would do what I said in the Europe one earlier too. I would personally pit once the driver out of me pits too, so you have someone to work together with, because these two are now towing each other along very nicely. They're creating a bit of a gap to Sorzano behind. Look at that, Sorzano not able to catch because they've both been pushing each other along. But Davies were working perfectly together with Lucas Vieira. And Stephen Place is trying to work together with Sorzano, however, not succeeding as much as they did earlier on. Scotty Gallagher has overtaken Diego Schneider.
Yes, he did that actually. So we might have to look at the replay as well as on that same corner, I think just before there, that Richard Hearn also passed one on Qatar. So 2 overtakes done. And we'll see first of all Scotty, and that's just on the inside there. I don't think too much of Diego Schneider put up a fight with that one. In fact, with anything, he's probably happy to sit. I'm going to use that slipstream, mate, for a while off you. Get a nice tow. And why not? Clearly, we know Scotty's quick. So if you can follow in Scotty's footsteps, essentially, then yeah, that'll take you along there and get some nice pace. And that could be a clever play there from the Argentinian driver. And just check out the Richard Helm's pass too on one. I wanted to see if that was the classic turn 1 overtake or not. There
Was
So
it?
Daniel,
Was it? Yes, it was.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no, the pass was already done before they got to turn
Yeah.
1, sadly.
that's true.
Well, most of it. He still had to
Ooh.
outbrake him a bit,
Yeah.
but the pass was already done before they really got to turn 1.
That's how you do your kind of textbook overtake here, because it's risking as well too, because you're approaching that corner very, very fast, and it's easy to snap a brake or just go in too deep, and then you go right off into the grass. We've seen that before during practice sessions. Thankfully, we haven't seen it much here today, because I think they used that practice wisely to make those mistakes, and now they're doing the right thing. Just a couple of drivers, of course, of Diego Snyder there having a couple of off-track moments, and the other Canadian, Diego, has already been to the pit road, fixed that car up. Been 19 seconds to change down the road there from Jeff Stone. But remember, all the other drivers will have to make a pit. Charles Krasak had made it pit early as well. Didn't see any damage or anything or any off-track moments with him. So he's just elected to get that pit stop over and done with and get on with the rest of the race.
That's what we saw in the Europe 1-2 drivers actually pitting 5 minutes into the race. Now, we had 2 pit stops there. The race was about half an hour longer. But, you know, drivers just want to get it out of the way. They don't want to be able, or they don't want to think about it once the race has got underway. They're like, okay, let's settle down now. Let's try and make this pit stop early. And let's try and catch up that way by not even thinking about that pit stop remotely. Just make that pit stop and do whatever you need to do. Now, with the cars going for about an hour, is everyone going to pop into the pit lane and after that immediately just going to drive back out again? Because
I think
they
so.
don't need to take on any fuel, nor do they take, well, nor do they have to take on tyres.
No, they will. I don't believe that. Well, you know that from the European one earlier. And good pointing out, CJ, nothing gets past CJ out there, Dan. I swear. He noticed just before that they were on exact equal lap times on that last lap between Lucas and Arturus. So that's to show you the pace. And we know that for a fact that they're not looking for overtakes just yet. And whoa,
And
Stevie
they're once
going
again 3,000
right
between
off.
Condalis and Vieira. 3,000 Biggles. 3,000. These two
They're
are
happy.
matching each other like Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen
They
in
are.
Baku this weekend.
But you got to keep an eye on Manuel in P3 and then Steven in P4. They're still keeping with them, so that's a good thing for them. The only thing I'd be worried about, keep an eye on that timing tower, because Callaghan, Scotty, he's 7.9 or so in change down the road. He's going to be driving his butt off to try to catch them as quickly as possible. So we'll see if he can start doing it. He's got a bit of work to do. It's going to take some time, but time is on your side because we've still got 43 minutes of motor racing to go with pit stops for these blokes to come as well.
Everything stays like it is, and everyone stays in the train like this. Buddy Callaghan is not going to get it. He needs this train to completely fall apart. So, yeah, he needs something here. So, he's going to have to hope that top 2, P3 and 4, like, fall apart and no.
Diego Snyder, the Argentina driver, as CJ's mentioned, he's had it off because I was looking at going, he was tucked up. He was behind Scotty, remember, in about this distance. So have a look at that. He's had an off-track moment, and now he's tucked up behind Richard.
There we go. Once again, the Western
Same
Horseshoe.
spot.
I told you that was not his favorite corner, and he's been struggling with it this evening so much.
Yeah, Donkey Kong put some bananas out there for you, Diego. Yeah, but at least the lucky thing is he managed to get tucked in here behind Richard. But does he want to stay behind Richard? It doesn't look like he's going on the high line right now, side by side. I think he wants to take that position back. Or either that or Richard's happy to say, look, I'll tuck in behind you, my friend, right there. And let's tow each other along. And of course, they're actually not too far down the road there from one. So that should actually help there. Diego get a nice tow. Yeah, Scotty's not doing too much about this. 8.3 seconds down the road from Stephen Place, so no, he needs to be.
He's powerless. He's powerless against the slipstream that these guys have. He can try as much as he wants. He needs something to happen at the front, which has just happened, and the gap between these two was momentarily out about a second, and there it is, 1.2. This is what he needs. He needs these two to be on their own, and realistically, he needs Solorzano and Place to fall apart. Because
I'm wondering if you're Stephen Place right now, kind of worrying about that little bit of a gap between the P1 and P2, thinking, okay, now I can't afford to sit behind anymore because I don't want to let these guys get away. And if he feels that Manuel is slowing him up and Manuel's not having the ability of catching the first two, then I think it's at this point right now, Steve has had to probably sit back and go for it like that, because once again, Steve is going to be thinking, all these drivers thinking about a race win here. And he realizes if they go to that, because they're 1.5 now up the road. So I think Stevie was very wise about that one, sees the opportunity, says, okay, I'm going to get on with it. Sorry, Manuel. Yeah, you're falling off the leaders a little bit, so give me a shot now.
Taking a look at that again, I want to go on board with one of the drivers because that was a very tricky one. Yeah, see, I thought so. An oversteer moment from Manuel Solorzano. I don't think it was completely Stephen Place who had the better exit.
True.
A legendary exit. It was Manuel Solorzano with a bit of problems on the exit there. And that caused him to lose that position. So easily done though. Lucky, however, to keep it out of the wall because we've seen a lot of drivers just, well, the curb just spits you out to the outside wall there on the exit of the Le Mans chicane.
We got to be in the right place at the right time. Stephen was in that time around. Very, very lucky that there wasn't too much of a snap and taking both the drivers out. As Manuel did. Manuel's gone too deep as well. Did you see that just in the background there, Dan?
This is exactly what Gallagher needs. Now Gallagher can start to gain Biggles. He might have what he needs. Arturius Condelis and Lucas Vieira still fighting over second. Stephen Place now completely on his own. Stephen Place now is going to have the same issue that Scotty Gallagher is having. Completely powerless. And look at that. Now that he's out of the slipstream, Scotty Gallagher back down to 6.8 seconds. I told you, this is... like, I've already seen a race.
We've had a switch to the lead. We've had a switch, so I think eventually Arturius has gone up. All right. We'll go back and have a look at the replay of that one a second for sure, because we have it all locked in the books. Don't worry about that. So now it's a switcheroo game. Maybe Lucas is happy to sit back behind, and nope, Lucas is going for it. There's the overtake you're looking at right now. That's it, isn't it? What happened? Yeah, just that's a switch. It looked like Lucas just went on the high line and said, okay, go on by, mate.
Now I want to save fuel, you said.
Yeah. And also, unfortunately, has had another moment. Now, I think if we're going to get a replay of that one, we might have a guess of where that would be on the track. 3 times lucky for Diego or unlucky?
Oh, no, you're not serious, right? You're not serious, right, are you?
I am
serious. Oh, you absolutely are. Oh. Diego Snyder has done it again. Well...
yeah,
I think at this point...
He's going to get out there, he's going to get a spray can, and he's going to write, I dislike you, corner.
Well,
Sign
at this
Diego.
point, we can make a complete Schneider going off at the Western Horseshoe, which would be... Well,
oh, Scotty's had a moment. So, Scotty, it says to me that Scotty's had a crack, but is he just dropped back? He's dropped back a little bit. Look at that now. So... even the Australian that's the car that says "Wash me," something's happened to the Scott style.
He's washed, Biggles. Scotty Gallagher, he's washed.
Oh, you can't say he's washed out too. Yeah, he's got 38 minutes to go and he's quick. But what happened? Yeah, what's happened to Scotty in the replays? Because I think he's probably just gone too deep.
I can't see anything in my incident report.
Oh.
So it must have been either a little bit of an oversteer moment out of the exits of the Le Mans chicane, which doesn't register as any of a crash, a mistake, an off track. But yeah, a difficult one nonetheless. But Scotty Gallagher dropping back a bit, 10.2
doing all
seconds.
over again. Stephen Place with that, got the fastest lap and says, okay, I missed the party up the front, guys. So I'm here, I'm back. And it's good to see that with this battle. Ooh, that's a twitch and oversteer from Lucas. Just there to allow Stevie to get even more time. These cars, I don't know if the temperature's starting to catch them off there down because it's cooling down here or something. I doubt it's the tire wear, but he's starting to see some little mistakes creeping in his drivers now. 14 laps later.
Snyder putting down the order. P9 fighting over P8 with Joel Jacklin.
Yeah, Joel, I mean, I don't want to be a meanie on this one to Diego, but Joel, I would let Diego through and just wait until Diego's favorite corner comes up, and then you get the place back.
Well, what does our
so
expert
mean.
CJ say in chat? What would CJ do? CJ seems like someone who is appropriate to call up on for something like this, because he's an expert. He knows what he's talking about. So what would you do in this situation? Being Diego Schneider, would you try and work together with Diego? Or with Joel Jacklin, or would you just go for the move? That's the question.
Well, we'll find out in a minute. CJ's on top of that. Nathan's going to visit pit road, Nathan Bromby, so he's going to get that pit stop over and done with and resume himself back out on track. And unfortunately, I think he'll be a bit of a loner on the track for now. This is going to be interesting too, because I think if you are Lucas and you're Steven, you're going to wait for Arturis just to be the one calling the shots, isn't it, for the pits?
Yeah.
He's going to be the one that... Maybe he could throw one of those dummies into the... I'm pretending to get on the pit road, but I'm not. Catch everybody else off guard behind. Or Scotty's going in at the moment, Scott Callahan, so he's elected that, okay, I got too much time to capture. Maybe they're starting to crunch some numbers on the pit wall and get him out in with traffic, which is... Usually you don't want that in a regular race, do you? You don't want to be coming back out in traffic, but in this case, you certainly do here in Daytona.
If you can get someone who's just as quick as you, who behind him he has someone, I think Diego Schneider is not too slow. He's just been making mistakes here this evening. Jacklin, of course, has gone past Schneider, but Schneider on the back of him again.
Manuel's had an off-track moment too. I'm not quite sure if that passes up on you, but he's still running in P4. But he's dropped a little bit of time as well, to 11 seconds change down there from these three drivers. Stevie's still hanging in here for the team red line. He knows he was there earlier, as you'd mentioned, in the European one, so he's got the patience.
He's going to spin it. You know, yes, there we
Oh,
go.
yeah. Good correction. Good correction. Shouldn't be any traffic there because he had a little bit of a gap, but... Well, he's just lost that time, and he's going to have to make it all back up.
Which is not easy on this track. The place has dropped back a bit from the top two, about 6-7 turns. Needs that gap to come down a bit. Lucas Vieira all under the rear bumper of Arturis Bailey's.
He might be going for this one now. We'll see.
No, I don't think so.
If he, yeah, no, he did.
No
he
pressure
moved
from
a little
behind.
bit.
He doesn't need to. He doesn't need
True.
to. No pressure from behind. So just pulls out to give himself a bit of a clear
Look at,
view.
have you
and some
noticed how
nose on the
Steven's
front.
racing line is so much different into turn one
Yeah.
than the other drivers? It gives him a greater, it's a little slower entry, but a better exit. I've noticed that he's just been completely different for that. And it's working. We'll have to see how it goes when he's in the lead of the race, having to defend if he gets in the lead of this race. CJ's answered your question out there too. Dan, have a read?
CJ also said it looked like Schneider might have been slowing Jacklin up a bit at the point where it was smarter to make the move. So, in the eyes of CJ, it was a smart decision from Jacklin to get past. Now, Diego Schneider, if we look at that battle again, here he is. He is going to try and get past Jacklin again now. So it's back and forth between these two, which is not, well, that's the frankly honest thing. It's not helping them both. He also said, I stand correct, Jacklin has only lost time since he passed Schneider. Well, I mean, this is the thing. You might be quicker than the other driver, and it might be smarter for Jacklin to pass Schneider, because now Jacklin can pull Schneider along, and now they're both quicker. So, you don't stand to be corrected, but it is so easy to just be passed by someone and just tuck up into that slipstream thing, what we have seen so far this evening, and just catch back up and be able to go for that move again. Schneider pulls to the outside though. So defended by Jacklin.
We will have to,
entry to the chicane.
Yeah, speaking of overtakes, of course, Lucas has retaken the lead of this race, and we'll have a look at that one in a minute. At the same time, just a little bit before that, Charles Krasek, unfortunately, has had a moment. He's down in P12, so he hasn't got a great deal to lose, but probably another off-track excursion. Here it is. So we'll see if it's a classic let overtake moment.
Arturis Daly's let him past.
Yeah.
It's a switcheroo at the front. These two working together really nicely here.
You're right. The clear visors are now on. So they've teared off the tinted ones. Snyder and Jacqueline are still going for. Snyder has got past their Jacqueline, so they're going to use that. Jeff Stone's going in to visit either for his pit road. Did you see what happened with Charles Krosek at all? A little bit earlier?
Well,
no? Okay.
seems like he's dropped down into P12. Well, is catching up to Jeff Stone, who's in pit road at the moment. But there we go, goes past him. Across the line, up to P11 for Charles Krosek, but yeah, I don't exactly know. He's made a pit stop, or he's not made a pit stop, excuse me, so he still needs to make that pit stop, so he's going to drop back behind Stone again. However, Stone is still in the pit lane. Quite a long while now, has actually made a pit stop of about 1 minute and 4 seconds.
I wonder if they're doing some repairs. I believe it's a quick repair, but it's a 1:27 for Charles's pit stop earlier. This is a total pit stop time, and a 1:04.4 for Nathan. Jeff's still
3
in
wide,
there,
Biggles,
1:04.
3 wide!
Oh, here we go.
3
Hold
wide,
on
not in
tight.
turn 1.
Somebody's going to have to lift off here. And it was Arturus. Luckily, he's going, no, mate. I've foreseen all 3 cars pointing in the opposite direction if we try that one. It would be great for us up in the entertainment, up in the booth, as well as for CJ down there watching and everybody else. Welcome along if you're watching this later on, even for the drivers. Or if you're watching it live, it's certainly spicing up, as we know these drivers halfway through the race right now, Dan. They will do a pit stop at some point with 10 minutes, hopefully, before 10 minutes of the race ends. And but yeah, you know for a fact that one of these drivers is going to jump in the pit road and the other 2 are going to follow.
Well, you should say,
Think.
or you would say that. Now, we thought the same in the Europe one, and everyone, well, in the top 8, who was within a second of each other, decided to pit at a different time.
Oh,
So
that was, yeah.
you never know. It would be great to see them come in and have a battle on pit road, see who's quicker on pit road, see who's played the strategy better.
It's going for it.
Place, letting Arturus Daly's by again. Says, no, I want to have nothing of it. I want to save fuel here. I want to play the strategy game.
And remember, the track temperatures are cooling as we head into the evening. That's why the headlights are on. That's why the clear visors are on. So that track's going to get a little bit more trickier. It does. Right, Dan, as a driver, like the cooler temperatures, or will it actually benefit a bit of grip here? I don't know. The rear ends of the car start to look a bit loosey-goosey coming out of some of these turns when they get the power on. So I'd have to imagine. Here we go again.
There's some agonizingly close to that inside wall there, Biggles. It's unbelievable. And they do it lap after lap after lap after lap. Now, we've just seen Baku on the F1 calendar where some drivers
that's a moment
have
there.
The wall a bit.
Yeah, that's for a Lithuanian driver, I believe, isn't it? Yeah, he definitely had a little bit. He's very, very lucky to collect it and keep it within this party because, yeah, come on, guys, keep with it because this is very entertaining. We want to see this wheel-to-wheel racing to the end. At least that's what I have in my notes here, Dan. It says top 3 will battle to the end.
Is that in the script?
Yeah, it's in the script.
There we go. Now you know. Top 3 will battle till the end. That would be absolutely amazing.
But you know what? Scripts sometimes get edited, don't they? And changed, so anything is possible. You've got to be going for it here. I'm not quite sure you're going to want to be tucked up that much, Will. Lucas, switcheroo here. Take it up on the inside there and go for it. That means going to last the late breakers. No, they won't. I'm glad to follow through again.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot here, Mr. Dean Biggles, and I'm going to say, who does the script say is going to win?
I can't reveal that, my friend. That's like going to watch a movie and then you already know what happens in the end. That would be very fair for everybody out there watching.
Well, who are you expecting to win then?
I can't answer that question.
Oh, you can't. Don't tell the fence. You've got your splinters in your bum.
Legally, my lawyer said I cannot answer that question live on air, unfortunately. So, no comment. I honestly, mate, I mean, these three has to be one of them. Not has to, because they could all take each other out, and then Manuel sitting in P4, I'll take that one any day of the week. We've seen that before in races.
Rossi just had a little bit of a moment there.
He's not loving this track, unfortunately, but he is at P11. I think he's having another off-track excursion for his Hot Wheels machine.
Caramba. It's not what you want to see. Yeah, that's a bit painful there for the Americans. Charles Crossage gets underway again, but not loving this track at all. A bit of trouble in that Hot Wheels machine. Definitely some Hot Wheels on the back end of that car now. There we go. Got the pun in there. He lift those ones up. Coming out of turn 7 onto the banking. And it's so easy to do that big on that corner is so much more, well, it's so much trickier than a lot of people expect, because it looks so easy when these guys do it time and time
Look how much
again.
he's caught back up, bud. Look how quickly he caught back up. And in fact, here we're going to go, the three-way. 1, 2, 3, welcome along to Daytona. It's like the traffic going in here before a motor race weekend. Bumper to bumper. Love to see it. Stevie might be going for gold here and say, guys, come on, I haven't led the race yet. Give me a chance. And I believe it's going to be up to Arturis if he wants to. No, Stevie's gone up in the high line, so that would drop a bit of pace off there. But remember, Stevens' entrances have always been different into this turn, see?
Yeah, but oh, look at that. Arturis is so strong on the inside line, and he proves it again. It's going to go past Arturis Condelis, or past Lucas Vieira on the outside now for turn number 2. Turn number 3, excuse me.
Now, the difficult part. Can you ride on board with Steven, if you don't mind, please? Because we can see the two cars up the road. I just want to see how difficult it is from his perspective. You've got to remember, you're also that close to the cars. You're trying to spot your braking points. You're in the dirty air as well if you are running behind Lucas. And, you know, then all of a sudden, like, where's my braking point? Because there's a car in the way. It's just muscle memory at this point, isn't it, to know where it is. Get on the power now. Stevie likes to go up high on the wall. Tucks back down behind. Great driving. He's in 5th gear. Axing the revs out there. Should flick up to 6. And there it is. You're just on the gas pedal. Sitting and whether he'll lift a little bit here. He's still flat. Absolutely flat. Lifted the layer. Yeah. Quite a bit of a lift, actually, before the corner coming up here.
Yeah, that's a long lift.
He's playing it safe, I believe, isn't it? Like, didn't want to...
Oh, playing it safe. He's
no.
not. Stephen Place has absolutely lost it. Biggles, that's your fault. There we go.
I was about to say,
safe.
sorry, Stevie, that's got to be me. We're riding on board talking about you. He might have been listening to the stream as well.
That is a bit painful there for Stephen Place.
Yeah, look at this complete lift here.
Now, all the back of Vieira again, and with that, Stephen Place being...
Oh, Steven's boxed it. Yeah, he's decided, all right, guys, I've lost a little bit of time here. Let's see how... If I come back out and I put some absolute banker laps in here, even with, you know, maybe nobody around him, and maybe can jump the top 2 and just get him done on the pit stops. Don't hit the pace car, Stevie. Look at how quick that pit stop was.
Did he actually stop?
That was a millisecond. Okay, it's a 1 second pit stop. Eat your heart out, Formula 1. Can't do it that quick.
Wow.
Again, I didn't take any tires or anything on. That's got to be a record. So far, it is the quickest in this race. And that's something else for Lucas and Arturis to look out for, isn't it? I don't know if their teams are telling them on the radio, hey, Stevie just took a 1 second pit stop. So that could be all the difference.
0.93 seconds that was. So yeah, indeed, Formula 1, eat your heart out. That was an incredibly quick pit stop, and it even, well, in a quick glance, it even looked like he didn't even stop on his, well, he didn't even stop on his marks.
He timed it perfectly, and that's the difficult part. That is, even the best drivers have seen it before, and you've seen it before, Dan, because we've casted tons and tons and tons of league racing. Like how the best drivers just miss their break, their spot, isn't it? Their pit stop, and they just lock up a little bit and slide over it, and sometimes have to reverse back and everything, and that is a lot of time lost in motor racing. But Stevie has just nailed it perfectly. Good on that. Best pit stop so far all season here at the SR8 Americas.
Pit stop on the right hand side, though. I think Richard Hearn was off. And he is. Look at the front of that car. Look at the state that car is in.
He's got to wait for traffic to... There he is. He should be able to get out because Scotty's in P8.
Well, now
approaching that corner. Scotty will be straight past him, I believe, the right-hand side. Yes. Pretty damaged car. All right, let's see. Is that car pointing in the right? The steering How badly dinged up do you think it is?
Biggles, once again into the
Oh
horseshoe.
no, Diego. That's 4 times there, Diego, on that corner.
This is
Could
the
even be 5.
international
We're losing
horseshoe.
count.
But horseshoes is not what Diego Schneider, his favorite corners are. What a troublesome race in those horseshoes for Diego Schneider. Take those horseshoes out of the occasion here on the Daytona International Speedway Road Course, and Diego Schneider has had an absolutely incredible race.
He's in Argentina. You know they're famous for their beef and stuff, and a lot of cattle. You ride cattle and stuff like that in Argentina. Oh, I don't think Diego's going to want to see any horseshoes for a while. Oh, that's it. That was the one, isn't it? Oof. So you said, because you want to get a great exit out of that corner, because as you said, it's so much time that you can gain. But unfortunately, as Richard has just indicated, you get a little too gritty on that corner, and those walls will punish you.
Saw the first one to get caught by the inside curve was in the exit again. Look at the nose of that car. He did take a fast repair. His pit stop time, let's take a look, about 1 second too. So he didn't even lose too much of that. He lost his incident time.
Can you show his pit stop as well? I want to see how perfect this is. Unless we'll just wait to see whether or not our Lithuanian driver's going to... No, he's going to sit back at the moment, and that's okay. Please let us know, guys. Just hit the little button on your steering wheel that says Biggles and Dan. I'm about to overtake, so we'll put the cameras back on you. Thank you. But yeah, can you show the pit stop there for Richard? Because I want to see if that was on the money as Stevie's was.
Yeah, 1 second. There we go. Stevie's was the quickest still, 0.9. But the rest, like Moncada and Hearn, only lost about a 10th of a second, which, racing terms, and especially here, is not a lot, because you easily gain it back on the banking and slipstream.
Snyder's in, but also keep an eye out for Scotty now. It's called Joe Jacklin. So the 666 machine for the Australian has got the toe that he wanted. And that was obviously a little bit courtesy of the off-track moment there with Richard. It's helped him, but yep. Now he's got that toe that he wanted, and he can try to make his way back up. Remember, he's made his pit stop as well. Stephen Place is the only driver ahead of him that's made a pit stop. You can see those times on the timing tower right now. This is the 0.9 is, the 1.2, the 1, and the 0.8. It actually shows that Diego took a quicker pit stop, and I think he might have, Dan.
Well,
so he's taken the record away. And now you got to get your stopwatches out and do a timing this one, because it's gonna, you blink and you miss it. Let's have a look. Bang. I don't know. To me, it looked like Stevens was quicker.
Yeah.
Because there was almost like this felt like there was a pause. Stevie's didn't feel like it was even a pause. Where does he come back out to?
Let's take a look on board with Diego Schneider. Let's go to a replay here. Let's take a look on board with Diego Schneider. Here we go.
I think it slid a little bit. See, it just felt like it. The rear end of the car just didn't lock up. Well, didn't show a lock up, but Joel Jacklin's had a moment. Joel Jacklin's had a moment. And he's on the track somewhere too. So if we go back to the live pictures, what's happened to the 25 machine? He's dropped a place. So one has got past him from the team rad line. Did you get that notes up there? I know that we're getting different race control notes here, but Joel Jacklin has had a moment. Here we go. Is this in? Oh, is this Le Mans?
Yeah, this is the Le Mans chicane.
Oh,
out of the wall though. Yeah. Oh, look at
so close to Scotty, almost hit him. Yeah, that was Scott that went past there, right? Too. So Scotty almost had a moment, a Code Brown moment. I have to say, seeing jog off like that. Let's have a look from Scotty's perspective. Yeah,
already a bit loose on entry.
Yeah, there it is. Look at that. Oh, he said to back off. There was contact. Scotty was, and that probably pushed a little bit more of a tap there, but Joel was already going around anyway, so at that point. But did Scotty get any damage on the 666 machine? No. These cars are pretty tough, I would agree, as long as you don't.
They can withstand a little bit of touchy, but then still, Biggles.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of made out of cardboard, these cars, especially these SR8s. With the SR10s less so. With the SR8s, you could almost say they're made out of cardboard with the fact how they spent but you never seem to lose any performance, which is good for Scotty Gallagher. Scotty Gallagher himself now, here he is, up to P5 at the moment, doing well.
Yeah, 15. Yeah, because I mean, other people some misfortunes, unfortunately.
Who's made his pit
That's
stop.
what Scotty does, but you know, he sits back, cool, calm, and collective, and just let all the other incidents occur up the road there, and seizes the opportunity to pick up some great points. Remember, he's starting from last place, not sitting a time. You never know if it's possible for him to win this one. It's a little bit more difficult on this circuit than it would be on others, but you never know what's going to happen up the top of the timesheets. What's interesting, if you can also show, so replace the pit stop times there at the moment in day, and show the gap to leader, because I'm interested to see how far is Steven away from Lucas Vieira leading this race. Now, the overall pit stop times, on average, we've seen recently with these drivers pulling, 1 second stop in the box times. 38, 39s to 40s? Say 38 to 40?
Something about that, but you're not going to lose that time. So he's further away than he looks. Yeah. He's about 12, 14 seconds away from the lead there.
I always get confused with that, Dan, because the overall pit stop time, say, if it says, okay, your overall time from entering the pit lane and exiting was 38 seconds, yet you look at the gap.
For 38 seconds, you're still moving on the track.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying the overall pit stop time for the box is 38. That means you should be, well, I still have to figure that out in iRacing. I get it in other sims that I cast for, but this one I still cannot get me. So what do you, generally, if it tells you on our telemetry that it's 38 seconds overall pit stop, would you shave, 10 seconds off that and say that's probably the gap to leader?
Depends.
As Manuel does enter?
You take when the driver who's on the track goes past the pit entry.
Okay.
And you time it, and when he goes past pit exit, you stop the timer, and that's the time you take off that total pit stop time, and that's how much you're going to lose.
Have you got your stopwatch there? Let's
I
see.
have not. I can't.
Yeah, Scotty's got Manuel now. So because remember, Scotty's taking these pit stops, so another one bites the dust for Scottstar. Well, I'm allowed to call Scotty all these nicknames, mate, because we're Australian. So, you know, that's a mutual agreement that we have as Aussies.
Let's take a
Scotty
look at these
mind.
top two. They need to pit within about 4 minutes. They're going to leave it late, I can tell you that much.
Nathan Brumby, unfortunately, the other Australian driver's had a moment, mate. He's back in pit road again. So he must have had a bit of a ding. Bit of a fender bender moment for the, well, one Australian goes up. The other Australian, unfortunately, is back down into plump last, but points are points. This battle, of course, is still brewing between the top two. If we can get the interval times back up there as well, too, Dan, we've got an idea of that.
He's going to go in, or two's
yeah, they're both going in. Here we go. So, where's Stevie? Look at the track map. Stevie's at dot number 3 up there. And Stevie's now on his final flat gas. He doesn't have to lift off at all. Both these drivers are going to be in and out as quickly as possible. Let's see how much of a stop that they're going to do. You can see how Arturus is moving on in last minute because he wants to make sure he gets his box perfect. Here we go. Bang and bang. A little bit later, I'd say there, maybe, from Arturus. Maybe. Where's Stevie? They're going to be out ahead of Steven. Steven's coming around now. Remember, Steven's going to have the speed coming into it, but then he's got this corner. Turn 1 to take. And will Stevie just see him in the distance there?
He's way off. He's way off. Scotty Gallagher in P4. Did well though. He's gained that position over Manuel Solorzano.
Yeah.
So overall, with that early pit stop, he's actually gained and not lost anything.
Yes, exactly. Well, I think, by taking that earlier, but that really unforced pit stop, wasn't it? Because he made that little bit of a mistake and then elected, while it was going on the pit road. Interesting now, because it's got to be a little bit gut-wrenching, I'd say, for the Canadian driver, Steve. Remember, he took the gamble there, took the pit stop earlier, and then had a lonely track by himself, so he couldn't get a tow. And when he comes out of the pit road, he's not going to be able to see his two best mates that he was battling with on track anymore. He's got 5 seconds down the road. You never know. He can, we've seen little bits of mistakes before from the drivers, and all of a sudden you're back in it. All you have to do is just keep focusing. But still looking for a podium. They still get to taste the bubbly stuff.
Everyone has made a pit stop except this man, Diego Zuccarelli, he still needs to make a pit stop. Diego,
No, he made
do it
one.
quickly. No.
Yes, he did at the start of the race. Remember, he had an accident.
Diego
And he went in
Zuccarelli,
and fixed the car.
pit count for me is at 0. Now that might have been because we had a restart of the SDK.
Yeah, you did. I got him as a 1. Remember, he had that early accident and he had to go fix the car.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yeah,
right.
he went in and out.
Yes.
Which was a good recovery drive, I'd have to say, considering he was plump last by lap 2.
Yeah.
And he's back up to P7. So that's where you get your head down. I always say, if you can have an accident, mate, have it early. Keep an eye too on the battle for P5 and 6. Here it is right now, right on cue. So
Is John Moncada going to go for the move? But Solorzano's lost out a lot compared to Galligan during that pit stop phase.
yeah, remember this is for position, and with 11 minutes to go, no more pit stops. So what you see is what you get with the battle for P5 and P6 and the battle for P7 and P8. Don't forget. Well, what's happened actually? Torres has made a mistake because Stephen Place has now tucked up the gearbox. I was about to go back to say the battle for P1 and P2, but it's not anymore. Vieira's got a lucky break now with 10 minutes to go. But Stevie now has luck on his side for the Canadian driver because he has a possibility of getting P2 now. I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't see anything actually in the race control about that one. So I'd say it's just a moment that he's Lithuanian guy, right? I hope to get that one correct again.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's just like that. This is why you got to get your head down and just go with it because you never know what's going to happen up the road. And just like that, Stevie can he can taste the second step on the podium, perhaps. Unless Lucas makes a mistake, I don't think Lucas got the pressure now to have to push. He can just coast at home, get another win for the Brazilian. But the battle for P2 is right here, right now, and it's live.
Artur Scuderi is running a bit wide. They're feeding the pressure from the Canadian behind. Stephen Place might pull to the inside here for the International Horseshoe. He's not going to stick behind for a bit now. But as so many fights here on the Daytona International Speedway, it might come down, Biggles, to a round down to the line with this one.
Yeah, it will. And also, remember that Diego is going to be a battle. I was about to say, don't talk about the International Horseshoe with Diego Snyder. But he's tucked up behind the other Diego. So the Diego battles are battling. We also have the battle of the Colombian and the United States of America and for P5 and P6, as well as this battle for P3 and P4. So it's just after almost an hour of a race. It's going to come down to the wire. Just it did start at the start of the race, which is qualifying, isn't it? Separated by a top 8 by a second. We're going to see a similar thing towards the dying stages of this race. Welcome along, of course. Hit the bells to like and subscribe. And welcome to the 1000 Club here on the JPB network.
Well, like I said earlier in the European League, it's a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you all for being here with us. And we're on and upwards. And upwards we go. As the James would say, well, we're up to 1.03k already. Up to, well, chasing down the 1.1. Small steps at a time.
Ooh, it's going to get a tow from this lap car as well. I think they will. That's the Hot Wheels machine of Jeff Stone. That will help him a little bit. And then again, they're going to be approaching him drastically into the first couple of corners here. So is he going to get out of the way? Yes, he does.
That was great driving from the back marker. Because if there's one thing you don't want, being the top 3 right now, or any driver really on track when you're lapping, is to have a back marker ruin your fight. There's one thing that I hate, it's a back marker splitting up 2 drivers that were very evenly matched. Now, I don't hate it as much if they just stick ahead of the full battle. If they go and, stick it up in between the 2, then yeah, it does get a bit annoying. Yes.
We know you yourself and James really loves that blue flag room. We can talk about that. And don't forget, definitely the reason why you want to subscribe to this network, because it's not just motor racing. We're going to have a food cast from James at some point next month. Well, when he gets back from Spain, but he'll be doing it from Spain at some point, whether or not the production will be we'll probably have to. And we're quite sure if it's going to be live. I don't put the pressure on James. As long as he just gets the food cast done, and we'll watch that as a special something different. But what we are watching our pictures of 6 minutes to go, under just shy of 7 minutes, is the chance of Stephen Place. Now, he knows he's happy to be tucked up here, but at some point he realizes, well, I'm going to have to go for it because I've not a lot of time now to steal P2. And whether or not Arturus can hold him off to keep that P2 position, as well as his other battles. But remember, your timing tables for P5, P6, and the old battles for P8. P7, P8, in fact, it's also a battle for P9 and 10 too, Dan. So, put it this way, everybody's battling almost.
Incredible drive so far from Stephen Place and Arturus Gondelis. That inside line, though, in the
Power
turn
slide out of
one
that.
is not going to work for Stephen Place because Arturus Gondelis has got that inside line covered. He's got that inside line absolutely nailed down. So if there's one place where Stephen Place is not going to get past the Lithuanian ahead of him, it is down to turn one on the outside. He needs the inside down in the turn one if he wants to get past there. Now, like I said, I do think that this battle, like so many others at the moment on track, is going to come down to a run down to the line. Karahi with Tolorzano. This is the battle for P5.
Yep, and it's going to be holding him off there. Risk it. This is the point too where you can't afford to make a tiny little mistake, because if you are attacking, time's not on your side. If you are under attack, well, you might not be able to get a chance to catch back up again if you do lose the place. So it's going to take absolute precision concentration, but of course that's harder, easier said than done when you've been sweating it out in your racing seat for 55 minutes, wanting to see Barney in the checkered flag. Stephen Place, I'm wondering if Stevie's going to go for this one. He's whiffy. He must be right up the absolute bumper for P2 as well there, Dan, but whether Stevie's got time to wait a lap or two more, but he's got to be very careful not to have a little bit of excursion that we saw before where the rear end goes a little loosey-goosey, and at that point soon, you're not going to have enough time to catch up. I'll have to settle for that P3, but here, look, this is an opportunity here. This is going to be into turn one. Now, is one going to go? No, he's going to tuck in for now. He's probably going to wait to the last lap. I think we're going to see some overtakes in the last lap or not. Or maybe Dan.
For sure.
It'll be the place. Yeah.
For sure. And this won't be the only battle. Just like Arturus Gondelis, Stephen Place, Zuccarelli and Schneider, and Jacqueline and Hearn, basically we have 4 battles going on, and I don't know really where to look. Do we have a quadruple split screen or something that we can put up? Because we're gonna need it to run down to the line. Place.
Well, we'll work on that in the future, of course, because I do it with James on another broadcast network. We have a little picture-in-picture, so we'll talk about that one today, and we'll bring that one, hopefully, to the SR8 Americas for the future, especially in battles like this when we need to see multiple cars and multiple battles that are occurring. Now, I think at this point, how close are we getting where Stevie has to think about getting this done? This lap? Next one? We even have one more after that?
Lap. I think we have about 3 more laps in it from now on.
Right. Yeah, because Lucas is about to cross. So you can see on the track map right now, Lucas is the number 1. He's crossing the line now.
These two have been gaining on him, though. They have
actually.
on him.
Yeah. I think maybe Lucas has backed off a little bit. Remember, he is out by himself. Look at that. Stephen Place with the fastest lap. Stevie's once again completely different racing line into the corner, but it works because it gets the exit speed out of it.
Now Stevie is selling Dailies here to get a bit of a move on, because the gap is only 2.3 seconds and they are gaining on Vieira ahead. Last time round, 7/10 gained by the pair. So that slipstream, that pushing they're doing on the banking is for sure helping them.
I wonder if Lucas is just happy to go, all right, guys, I'm getting lonely up here. I'll bring you into play here. Open up the door. I'll send out the invitations. Come to my party and join me for
sure not.
A couple of minutes.
Biggles,
you never know.
You're telling a driver to
just lift and coast a little bit. Just lift and coast a little bit. Maybe we don't know if it could be fuel safe. We could have underfueled that car like crazy at the start of the race, and all of a sudden having to to nurse it. We've heard before in the past too, they've got to chew through those tires. It could be like blistering at the front. He might be nursing them for a little bit. By the way, he's got that gap. He knows it. He just can't afford to make a mistake. Could be the reason too why Lucas has lifted off a little bit there and say, okay, yeah, I've got the P1. It's mine. The only thing that can stop me from doing it right now is if I mess myself up. But the battle for P2 is right here. And this is it, isn't it? Stevie's going to go for it. I think he has to now. What do you think? Yep, he is. He's going for it.
He's got to go
now,
for it.
Is it too early?
He's gonna get it. Yeah, it is. This might be too early. Last lap in the books, I think, in a bit. This is going to be close for the last lap.
Oh, he could tuck in. No, he's committed. Remember, Steve's going to get a better exit here, as he has, but unfortunately, he's not on the right middle part of the track.
You're not going to get it. Biggles, how many times have I told you, Arturus Dailies, that inside line, you are not going to get it. You're just not going to get it.
36 times I got it written down. Right, 37 now.
Make that 38 right. Because Arturus Dailies on that inside line, he's just in a league of his own, that inside line. He's got it locked down. And I told you earlier on, if there's one place where he's not going to get him, it's on the outside of turn 1. Had a go, didn't work. And while Stephen Place, when he's going to listen to this broadcast after, he was like, damn, that commentator was right.
Yeah. Dan knows his stuff. Every once in a while, Dan gets it right. Just not entering a pit road. But also, there was a switcheroo between the Diegos briefly for a minute. There was a switcheroo between Joel and Richard as well. So, but we could probably show those overtakes maybe a little bit later after the race, because we've got to keep an eye on this crucial battle. And whether or not Stevie is listening to Dan about where he can get it. Where can he get it done there, by the way? CJ, where can he get the overtake done? Dan, where can he get it done?
He's going to need the run now, but I don't know if this is the last lap. It's going to be close. Here's Lucas Vieira. 7, 6, 5 seconds left. This will be the last lap, so Lucas Vieira will come through to take victory. Behind that, though, that's where it is going down. Stephen Place on the run down to the line. They're side by side. On the outside is Stephen Place. The inside, it's Dailies. It is Stephen Place who gets it by 20 thousandths of a second.
Wow. Keep an eye on further back, too, because we still got Manuel and one going for it. And this could be a similar situation. Who's got the better exit speed coming out here? Get ready to send it as much as you can. They're already on a loud pedal anyway, mate. They can't go any louder. They're just going to see whether or not they can do it. But I think that'll be line of stern there. He'll have to settle in for that P6 position. Unless he's going to... Oh, that's too much to settle in. Oh, there it is. Bang. That was close by 55 thousandths of a second.
Behind that, Schneider and Zuccarelli also 6 tenths between them, as we've got about 6-7 SR8 doing donuts at the first corner. This is a sight you will never see.
Yeah, guys, you can forget. You got to be doing it over the Daytona logo. Where is that actually in the start finish? But this will do quite well. I think everybody's very, very happy with the results, of course, apart from Mr. Nathan Brumby, that's only retirement. As these Jeff Stone did bring it home there. Charles Krasick had a few moments there. Joel Jacqueline. We'll go over those results in a second anyway. I guess, Dad, if you can. No, I think we caught all the action, didn't we, towards the end there? So we don't really need to see. We didn't miss anything. Got it all.
We never miss anything.
He's out of fuel? Who's out of fuel? Jacqueline had a problem? Was out of fuel?
Finished it.
Yeah, they did. Maybe he crept it across the line. It's just Charles to come across the line now. He has finished. I think it's just registering him as being finished so that we can get those race results over. Dan, go ahead.
There we go. It's Lucas Vieira on top. Once again, the Brazilian does it at the Daytona International Speedway. Thought for a second that Steve Place and the two Dailies might catch up to him. 20 thousandths in the end. It separated them. 18 thousandths. If I look at the results in the end, Scotty Galligan in P4 ahead of Manuel Zonozano in P5. Joan Moncada P6 ahead of Diego Zuccarelli in P7. Diego Schneider in P8 ahead of Richard Horn in P9. Joel Jacqueline in P10 ahead of Charles Crashes in P11. Stone in 12 ahead of our only retirement, Nathan Brumby. It's sad to see Nathan retire from that race, but it is what it is for Nathan Brumby. Did all he could, but in the end, just wasn't quite enough, Biggles.
Yeah, we'll get. We'll have to hear the drivers real quickly now. They're all eager to jump in to have a bit of a yarn with us. And I give it to Diego Snyder as well, too, mate. Like, even though I disagree with the horseshoe many times, he still ended up getting that car home in P8. So a good drive there for the Argentinian. Anyway, we'll get some of the drivers in now. So who would you like to speak to real quick? I guess we could speak to Scotty real quick, the P4.
Well, we've got Arturus
No,
Dailies in.
Arturus. Yeah, we'll get Arturus.
He's finished P3, and Arturus, welcome in.
Hello, guys. Thank you.
Well, Arturus, an incredible fight there in the end, with Stephen Place about, 18 thousandths of a second in the end between you two. What an incredible drive from you the whole race long. And I told everyone about 38 times that, you had that inside line going down into turn 1 absolutely locked down, and there was no one going around your outside.
Yeah, that was kind of the plan with Lucas. We ganged up against Steven and tried to get away from him, tried to block him the best we could. And but he drove an incredible, intelligent race. He absolutely resilient to anything we tried, and in the end, he even got the second. So yeah, good job to him.
And you made a small error. We didn't actually get that on camera, unfortunately, as one of the incident reports. But there was one moment, I think, probably the only moment that you had when you lost a little bit of time. Do you remember what lap that was, or?
I won't be able to tell you the lap, but it was right immediately after the pit stop. So basically, I panicked a little bit that Lucas kind of escaped my draft and started pushing to catch him back up, and got wide on the exit of the bus stop. Got a slowdown, which I did on the turn 1, and it was one of those things, I completed the slowdown, I immediately accelerated, and it came back, 0.0 of a second, and I had barely 2 seconds left to perform the thing before I get the actual penalty, so it was, a double slowdown, a really horrible moment, which allowed Steven to catch back up, and the whole plan we had with Lucas just collapsed just by that.
That was it, yeah. See, other than that, you're a flawless drive, so fantastic. But all it takes, doesn't it? And Daytona and a track like this, just one little tiny moment. But but I tell you what, you're certainly bringing some action for the screen, that's for sure. So it was as a good end, as the positive side of that, it was very, very entertaining to watch. Of course, with Stevie getting just a little bit towards the end. Any shout outs you'd like to say, my friend?
To Lucas, to Steven, to you guys for making this happen, and for anybody who's watching and supporting, thanks a lot.
Oh, from Dailies P3 here this evening in 1 hour of the Daytona International Speed. Thank you, Arturus.
Cheers, guys.
On swiftly with the man in P2. And it wasn't a lot that he finished in P2 with. It was about 18 thousandths of a second. Stephen Place, welcome in.
Hey, thank you. Woo, woo, woo.
Exactly. There we go. Well, a very happy Stephen Place, I think I'm talking to. You got the compliments from Arturus Condelis and I think Lucas Vieira too. You drove a brilliant race. A very intelligent race, Arturus said. They kind of teamed up against you, but you still managed to split them up.
Yeah, I knew I was in for it when it dawned on me that they both were teammates. So I just wanted to, if I had a chance, send it a few times. I knew that at the end I was going to get ganged up on one way or another. But props to Arturus. He's super quick, and Lucas for winning. It was fun racing those guys today.
Sure, Steve.
Yeah.
Go on,
Yeah.
sorry, Biggles.
Sorry, I got one little quick question, mate. I think I mean, we were sure the pit stops were super quick, but it looked to me like you didn't even stop. It just looked to me that you must have nailed that pit stop that you had. But that was perfect, mate. Right? I mean, it just seemed to be so seamless.
Yeah, I've had a lot of practice today, but I'm angry with myself there for that little mistake. But it pitted, and it worked out. Arturus had a little slide, which helped me get back in the draft. But it was all good. I enjoyed. Thank you for the broadcast. You guys do a great job. I enjoy rewatching this. You guys are really good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You'll definitely enjoy rewatching this one, of course, but coming back there. And Arturus just wanted to keep you company, mate. He was missing you, so he did that moment off track there. So bring it. No, anyway, GG's on that one, Stevie.
Thank you, guys.
Well, the only one left to go now is the man who, well, did it all to perfection in the end. Looked like he would have been under threat a bit, but got through, did what he needed to do, and in the end came out victorious. Lucas Vieira, welcome into the booth.
Hey Dan, it was a really fun race tonight. It was super fun, super hard, super intense race, the entire race. But yeah, I think at the end the race was defined on the pit stop. It was when I managed to get away from Arturus, and that's what if we didn't have a pit stop, it would be probably intense to the end. So yeah, they defined on the pit stop the race.
Well,
And that was great three-way battle for most of that race. So it seemed to me that you are just happy. I think we heard from Arturus before. You guys were kind of working together against Stevie. Is that what the plan was?
Yeah, that was the plan. Because it would be easier for us to fight between us at the end of the few last laps, and so it would be the best drive at the end, even with the draft. If you can fight during the middle sector, but with Steve together is all unclear what could happen. He could overtake both of us on the straight. So yeah, we would try to work together to move away, but in the end. I'm not sure what happened with Arturus. I think he made a mistake on turn 1 after the pit stop, and I managed to get away. I think Steve got P2. I'm not sure. Yeah, Steve P2, yes.
yeah, well, it was a tricky track too. We've seen a lot of drivers having difficulties with both of the horseshoes, the Le Mans chicane. The Le Mans chicane, did you at some point have a code brown through there, or was just easy going for you throughout this whole race?
Surprisingly, no code brown over there. So this race not. I have more issues when it's low corners like turn 1, because if you go too early in a throttle, you will have a wheel spin. So that was the hardest part, because on the rest was all good.
Well, I was about to say Arturus Condades. Lucas, of course, Lucas Vieira. Thank you for joining the booth. Congratulations on your victory. Go and enjoy it with your teammate, of course, P1 and P.
Yeah, thanks, mates. Can I give a shout out before?
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, for you guys, of course, always. But I wanna give a shout out for my friend Les Texugo. He's the crew chief for our team, and he's working really hard for us. And I would like a big shout out for him, because every time I forgot, and he was really mad with me. And so a big shout out for him.
There we go. Lucas Vieira doing a shout out to his engineer. Those people, they deserve one. They're the people behind the scenes that you never really hear them, but without them, I think you would have been half where you would have been now. Of course, you could have come up with a strategy yourself, but of course you're busy driving, so it's always good to have someone alongside you doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Dean.
Well, Biggles, that was an incredible race, and in the end, I would say it just like the European one, even with a smaller grid, it had absolutely everything. And especially with Lucas in the end, he got that gap. He drove amazingly. And I think he's pretty much comparable with Jürgen Frank, with what Jürgen Frank did in the European one. Drove the race to perfection. And looking forward to seeing this next time out at the Suzuka Grand Prix track too. But Biggles, it's been amazing. Final words on this evening?
Oh, GG's to Lucas, and great job there for Stevie, getting it done there. And Arturus always battling it out. And Scotty, of course, coming in 9 positions gain there and in P4, going to give it to the Aussie who doesn't qualify, but delivers the results. But Lucas, I would say if you got a driver to compare Lucas to, Ayrton Senna. There you go.
He said it, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you all very much for watching. Biggles, thank you for being alongside me in the booth. I very much appreciate every one of you who's watched it today, and everyone else who's subscribed to the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel.
CJ, don't forget CJ
Yeah,
out there.
CJ, I was just about to say it. Don't worry,
sorry,
CJ. We did not forget you. We did not forget you, CJ. Of course, the big parts always of these races. Thank you for watching, of course, and I hope you enjoyed our commentary over it once again. One of the drivers watching it back in the end, thank you for providing us with such great action. Thank you to everyone who has made this race possible, because without them, we wouldn't have been here in the booth at this moment in time. Biggles, like I said, thank you for being alongside me. Thank you to all of you for watching at home. This has been it from us, from Daytona, from the Europes and the Americas. Thank you all for watching. Until next week. Until then, stay safe. Bye-bye.